Going, everybody. Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Andrew Zarian on Sundays as well. And it is Tuesday on the show, and we got a lot to talk about. Tonight, NXT, everybody's favorite show. Got a lot of stuff going on. There is an NXT pay-per-view coming up on Saturday on Peacock, so we'll tell you about that. And, of course, last night was Monday Night Raw. And say whatever you will about WWE and Monday Night Raw. Hey, if you like wrestling, there was some excellent wrestling on Raw last night, particularly the opener and the main event world title match. Everything got a lot of time. Even the matches that weren't very good, they still gave them a lot of time. So you take what you can get. So we'll tell you about Raw last night and where they are heading. We've actually got a big match announced for next week's Raw, as well as the return of CM Punk. Punk is going to be on SmackDown. He's going to be on next week's Raw. He was not on Raw last night. And in fact, when they did a segment backstage, and I think Adam Pearce said something like, Punk's going to be on the show next week, man, you could hear these fans boo, because they were hoping he was going to be at the show last night. But he was not, but he will be on the next two shows. We got updates on Kevin Sullivan, not the wrestler, the vice president of post-production in AEW. He was let go yesterday. An update on Ric Flair and AEW, which is very interesting, actually, because everybody kind of heard one thing, and now we're hearing something totally different. Got updates on Okada. Been talking about Okada a lot, as well as all of the ratings notes from the last couple of days. If you want to text us here today, 425-780-7566 is the phone number. That is 425-780-7566. F4W Online at gmail.com. F4W Online at gmail.com. F4W Online on Threads, Instagram, and Cameo. At Bryan Alvarez on Twitter. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
There's 1, 2. Now he's got Bryan Alvarez. He whips him into the corner hard. Adam Firestorm following up, catches a boot to the face. Bryan Alvarez with another hard shot to the head. 1, 2. This is the most aggressive I've seen Bryan Alvarez today here in Portland Wrestling. Now he's got his knee across the throat. He's choking him, LC.
Well, it's like this week Alvarez has something to prove, brother. Something to prove to his sweet little lady over there.
Of course, Adam Firestorm with a big win over Black Dragon last week. Looking for another one here. There's a sunset flip. Is he going to go down? Yes, he is. Over he goes. 1, 2, 3. It is all over. Adam Firestorm with the victory over beautiful Bryan Alvarez here in Portland Wrestling. Now out Bryan Alvarez firing away with a boot. Action continues after the bell. Goes for the back body drop. No! Face first plant by Adam Firestorm. Your winner once, looks like he'll be your winner twice. Action continues. There's a whip into the far corner. Adam Firestorm follows with a spinning kick. LC, I think Bryan Alvarez has bit off more than he could chew tonight. Miss Rentone really disgusted over in the corner. Adam Firestorm not done. There's a lion sold on top. He hooks him again. 1, 2. 2.5. I thought we had a 3 count earlier in this match, LC. I was wrong.
I
I'm
can't
sorry.
believe it. I thought Youth Gone Wild was just adding a little salt to the wound. I thought Alvarez was Alvarez and a 2-time loser, brother.
Well, Mark Watson's hand must have stopped just short of the 3 count. And these eyes of mine need glasses, because I thought I saw a 3 count. Bryan Alvarez going up top.
Oh, we'll forget about your cataracts, brother. Up and over he goes.
Nobody home. Adam Firestorm back in control, playing a bit of possum. He's climbing up top. Is Rento and Otto really upset? There he goes. Swamp
oh, and that one hit.
There's a hook to leg. 1, 2, 3. Now it's all over.
A 2-time loser. And does the LC have to look after Miss Rento and Otto tonight, baby?
There's Adam Firestorm, your winner in this match. Once, twice, 3 times, it didn't matter. Bryan Alvarez not up to it. Miss Rento and Otto absolutely disgusted with it. Mark Watson explaining to him it was a 3 count this time. No hook the leg. Fair and square, Adam Firestorm, your winner here on Portland Wrestling. Fans will be right back with after a message from our sponsors.
Joe Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com. Well, we'll start with something that has nothing to do with anything. But I got an email from Marcelo here before we went back on the air. Do you guys know what the Mandela Effect is? You heard of this? I think this all started around 2013 when Nelson Mandela died. And everyone was like, I thought he died a long time ago. And they had this memory. And they were absolutely positive that he'd already died, but he actually hadn't died yet. And so then, people start seeing all sorts of things. And a good one, for example, would be, you guys remember the Berenstain Bears? Y'all read the Berenstain Bears when you were a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not the Berenstain Bears. It's the Berenstain Bears, Stain. And people hear this and their minds explode. They're absolutely positive that's not true. It's Berenstain, Stein.
It's like Kurt Hennig and Kurt Hennig.
Nah, that's just people being stupid. But the point is, then you go to the bookstore and you're like, golly, it is Berenstain. How? I don't remember this. Well, Marcelo has one here. He says, when Nick Khan came in, I swore it was spelled Kahn and not Khan, but everything I looked shows it's always been Khan. Any help on this, or am I going crazy? I seem to remember this too. Am I the only one besides Marcelo?
No.
No?
'Cause I believe Tony Khan actually made sure to point that out, that they were spelled differently at one point, I believe. I could have been hallucinating.
Wait, did they were spelled differently?
Yeah. And some of the back and forth online eons ago, but again, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe I'm part of this Mandela effect.
Wait, you know how to spell Tony Khan, right?
His is Khan. I believe, though, that...
And Nick Khan is Khan.
That's what I thought. And
you just told me that Tony pointed out they were spelled differently.
Yes.
But they're spelled the same.
Kahn for a while seemed to be like maybe that's the proper spelling. And again, I believe that he even pointed out that his name was spelled differently. In this battle of Khans, this battle of
Wait, so
Khans.
Tony Khan's name is spelled differently than other Khans?
No, Tony Khan's. Well, I don't know how many different spellings of Khan that there are.
Okay, so whose name is Tony Khan spelled differently from?
I believe pointed out one time it was different than Nick's, but then that's what we're trying to decide right now.
But it's not. They're
true?
both the same.
That's what I thought, but I don't know.
We're all losing our minds.
I know. This is terrible radio.
No, it's not. This is fascinating.
Is it? We got to get to the bottom of this then.
No one knows what's going on in this chat here. What is Sem talking about?
Well, look, I always thought they were spelled the same. Then I started seeing, for a while, I do remember seeing Nick Khan's name spelled Kahn.
See?
I don't know if that was a typo that then got picked up, but I even remember, I thought I remember at least, even Tony Khan pointing that out, going back and forth for one time online.
Exactly. It's the Mandela Effect.
Well, there you go.
We're all living in an alternate reality here. Wow. Anyway, well, on that note, I'm sure I'll get flooded with emails here about this one. So yesterday, Kevin Sullivan was let go from AEW. No, not the Taskmaster. Although he was the master of many tasks, this Kevin Sullivan.
This is causing a lot of headache online with people who have no idea and then start fighting over Kevin Sullivan's importance in the history of pro wrestling. It's crazy.
Well, Kevin Sullivan has been around forever doing production. And he worked, obviously, for years and years and years with TNA. And when AEW began, he essentially went to AEW and he handpicked a bunch of his production friends from Impact, and they left with him to AEW. So they were the production crew for quite a while. And in fact, the current Impact and AEW post-production are all done in the same building in Nashville, Tennessee to this day. And Mike Mansouri was brought in from WWE, and he didn't do the exact same job, but they kind of, worked, I guess, together. And Mike Mansouri yesterday let him go. And it's very interesting because, with, some exceptions, everybody's got their fans and their detractors. And, most of the people that I heard from were shocked and surprised and said that Kevin Sullivan did do a very, very good job. But I did hear today, there were other people, because, yesterday somebody got really mad on the board. They were like, why didn't you tell us why? It's like, I don't know why. I asked a bunch of people yesterday, and nobody else knew why either. It was like a mystery. Why, what happened? No one knows. Kind of like, what's-her-face on NXT. She was let go. I'd like to tell you why, but I don't know either. And I asked people there, and they don't know why. But I know it happened. So it's not like I can't report it happened unless I can tell you exactly why. But anyway, since everybody was trying to figure out why, I was like, what happened here? And I did hear people that said that, they felt of late that, complacent was the term that I heard. That he'd gotten complacent, and you could watch the shows and you would see, some production things here and there. And that was the best conclusion that they could come to. So, there were a lot of people that were upset for other reasons, one of them being that, well, he was one of the guys that was there from day one. And, when you're there from day one or close to day one, or you've been there for years, and people that have been there from day one start no longer being there anymore, and you realize really that everything is completely different from the way it was when this thing first started, well, it can make people upset. But that's the way that things go. No, I don't think it was because of that Dax Hardwood graphic that went up, but hey, who knows? Maybe that was a breaking point. But anyway, he is gone, and things have changed.
Well,
yes.
Then they're going to change, and people are going to be upset that were there day one until none of those people are there anymore. Remember when Renee Paquette talked to John Moxley and was basically, obviously paraphrasing here, but basically people are coming in and just completely crapping in our sandbox, our utopia that we had cut out here, and again, that's kind of on Tony Khan. And at the end of the day, that's where the buck stops for everything. And he has brought in people from WWE. He has brought in people from other places, Jimmy Jacobs coming in and some of the different people that have come in. It's just going to be like that. Doesn't mean that you got to choose sides between one or the other. You just hope that everything kind of comes together and those puzzle pieces start to fit and you start to get a better show. The show's had production issues since day one. It's had sound issues for several years now. I mean, we're going on 4 years, and, maybe they could use a little refreshing. Frankly, WWE's production could use a little refreshing as well, and it looks like they're starting to do that now with the stage coming out. Obviously, that's because of seating issues and them wanting to, increase that. But, that show could certainly use a new look. And maybe with the new TV deals, we're going to get that. But, there is an optic when you watch these programs, especially with WWE, that you're essentially still watching the same show you were watching 30 years ago.
Also, Tony Khan did an interview with the New York Post about the road to Sting's retirement. Here's another Mandela Effect. Did I not hear that Ric Flair had signed a multi-year contract? Did I not hear that?
2 years or something, with the money being offset by the drink or something?
I could have sworn I heard that he'd signed a multi-year contract.
Maybe it was a multi-year partnership.
But now Tony Khan is saying we're not paying Ric Flair. Ric Flair is essentially paying us. We are getting paid by Woo Energy for all of his appearances, so we are collecting revenue from them. And then, I don't know if it's like whatever, but apparently he's here through the end of Sting's retirement, which is not multi-years. It's like several months. So I don't know what's going on, but we'll try to hash it out after the break. Observer Live.
Yeah, I mean, in 2018, 2019, I was at the lowest point in my life. My addiction was in full force. I didn't leave my apartment. I was drinking all day from sun up to sundown, and I never thought that I'd be back in professional wrestling. I thought that I was just going to keep existing a miserable existence like I was, staring out my apartment window at the sun setting every day as I just drank myself to death. And, you know, I guess the light bulb went off, and I think wrestling was a big part of how I got sober. You know, I always, my first love in life has always been professional wrestling from the time I was going to shows at Madison Square Garden as a very young kid. And you know, there came a moment where I actually believed if I got back on track, I could make it back into the world of professional wrestling and make it to the top of the world of professional wrestling. And I really believe that in my heart. I know a lot of people, they say things like, I believe I'm going to be the man, or I believe I'm going to be the world champion, but you could tell when you look in their eyes, they don't actually believe it. I really believed it. I thought, if I can get back on track, I am going to make it back to the top of professional wrestling. And now I'm AEW World Tag Team Champion, sitting at this table as a one of the top guys in you know, AEW, and I would say that that's the top of the professional wrestling world. So I did exactly what I thought I would do.
And Bill, that is unbelievable. That is unbelievable, and I am really proud to say that AEW's been a part of this, but really what you've done on your own, and it's amazing the journey you've been on. That was an incredible story, and your story is incredible. And something else that I find incredible when you told me this is that this championship, this AEW World Tag Team Championship that you hold with Ricky Starks, that you, Big Bill, this is the first championship you have ever held at any level of professional wrestling. That is astonishing, and the fact that you've come so far and from where you came back from, it's pretty amazing.
I'm not out of my mind. This is, here's an article here. Wrestling legend Ric Flair signs multi-year deal with AEW. AEW CEO Tony Khan today announced, this was November 2nd, it's a month ago, a multi-year deal with Hall of Famer Nature Boy Ric Flair. Surprised fans in attendance and viewers at home during